Live. We're on. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media. You should have been here pre-show. I had already hit the button, and Mayhem's like, hold on, don't. And but you good, man? You all set?
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go.
And so we're here. We want to talk about bowl season, as we pretty much only have one game left, and that is the national championship this next Monday night in 6 days. And Mayhem, it's been a heck of a bowl season. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. You know, my Georgia Bulldogs are not in the national championship, but guess what? Huskies are, and they are dogs as well. So I can still say go dogs in the national championship upcoming. So hoping the Huskies, or as I would call them, the dogs, they're smaller dogs than us, but still call them dogs, right? Hoping the dogs
Yeah.
can win and have a third straight season where dogs dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. Preseason, you had picked Washington to make it this far. I had picked Michigan to get this far. This is kind of a battle for us because we pretty much have preseason favorites going head to head here.
Yeah, I didn't think Washington would make it to the national championship. I definitely had Washington making a the Final Four playoffs. I also had Georgia making it, and that didn't work out. I also had Clemson making it, and that didn't work out. So how about we do this? Um let's talk about the 2023 season as a whole, and let's talk about what you thought surprised you and what you thought did not surprise you.
Yeah, so I think you'd have to definitely back up to the beginning. You have to go back to the preseason. I'm just gonna go right out the gate here. What surprised me, not the most, but one thing that surprised me in the SEC was Alabama coming out of the West. And I only say that because think about the hype around Jaden Daniels and Brian Kelly and LSU. What's your thoughts on that? Because for a while going into the season, and even after that FSU loss they had, they still were until they started losing SEC games, at least, a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected LSU's defense to be that bad, and mainly the secondary for LSU. Nobody expected that defense to be that bad. Um, as far as the offense, I think everybody expected the high profile offense that they had. And early loss to Florida State, maybe you get the wrinkles out because it's the first game of the season and then you go on a run. But that didn't happen. They lost to Ole Miss and then they lost to Alabama, going 9-3 this season. So it was a letdown season for LSU because the year before that they went 9-3 also, and everybody thought that this year was going to be the breakout year 2 under Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's a top 10 head coach in today's college football. So yeah, definitely I was definitely wrong on about LSU as well. I was definitely surprised about Alabama because they had so many problems going on at the beginning of the season, and you're like, well, when are they going to lose? So they lose in week 2 to Texas, but then a lot of people were like, oh, they're bound to lose another game, and they just kept on winning and winning and winning and winning, and they got better and better and better, and then it finally caught up to them in this playoff game that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So, yes, I do agree that LSU was definitely disappointing.
For sure. I would also say, I mean, I could rapid fire these like what we were right or wrong about, but I I don't know where to go next. I mean, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this next one. What's something that you predicted or that you remember that I predicted? Because we made so many predictions and calls in the off season. What's something that stood out to you this off season that you said that's a really bold take, and I'll hold you to it, and ultimately I or you were wrong, or both?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start out by saying this. I don't know if necessarily. I don't know. I'm gonna let the comment section decide this, but Florida State, that was a big thing on the Touchdown Tuesdays. Florida State, I said that they
Yeah.
weren't going to be great, and you said that they were, and well, they went undefeated, and they got left out of the playoffs. So, I mean, was I right? Was you right? I mean, I don't know. I guess on the record part, I guess you was right. But as far as the playoff contender, I was right, I guess. Yeah. That's the first thing that kind of pops into my head whenever I think about being right or wrong. Another thing that pops into my head that we laughed about, me and you laughed about on the Touchdown Tuesdays, was Louisville. We didn't really
Oh
know
yeah.
too much about we didn't know too much about this Louisville team, and me and you said, why are we even talking about Louisville? They're garbage. And well, they went to the ACC
I think
championship.
your
So
words though, I think your words were they are hot doo doo. Something
yeah, I
like that.
mean, they proved me wrong. I definitely was wrong about that. And as far as Florida State, I guess you could say I was wrong about that. But I definitely didn't think that they were a playoff contender because they didn't have the depth that these playoff contenders have. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, even Washington, and I can name a few more teams, but you know, just the fact that they didn't have the depth to hang with these teams, I thought they would probably lose one or two games. And, I did not want Jordan Travis to get hurt, but I said in a previous video before that even happened, I said, what happens in a world where Jordan Travis gets injured? Well, I mean, they were a totally different team. Jordan Travis carried Florida State to their miraculous season that they had. And also, people are saying, well, Florida State was robbed. Okay. And then people say, well, they won the last two games with a backup quarterback. They deserve to get in. All right. I'm going to stop you right there. Okay. They played a terrible below 500 Florida team that also had a backup quarterback. And then they played Louisville, which, I still think the ACC is just a garbage conference. If you look at the ACC standings, the second best team is a 4-loss team. The third best team is what, a 6-loss team? Come on now. I mean, that's horrible. So, yeah, of course, you beat Louisville in the ACC championship, but I don't think that's a win that you need to hang your hat on, and you struggled with them. You rode the struggle bus. A lot of people are talking about, Alabama struggled with Michigan, and Washington and Texas struggled with each other. So maybe Florida State should have got in. That is the dumbest argument. That is the dumbest point that you could have possibly said. Because number one, Michigan has an elite defense. Number two, Bama has an elite defense. Number three, both offenses, Alabama's and Michigan's, have starting quarterbacks, JJ McCarthy and Jalen Milroe. And I mean, their offense, they're not no high powered offense, but they're a lot better offense than Florida State's without Jordan Travis. I'm gonna just say this: without Jordan Travis, Florida State is Iowa 2.0. Do you really want to see Iowa in the playoffs versus Alabama? No. Do you really want to see a rematch between Michigan and Iowa in the Big Ten title 26-0. No, you don't want to see that. I think the committee got it right. I think you know, they're the four best teams was in the playoffs, and some people are going to say, well, Georgia was one of the best four teams. Yes, they were. They were one of the best four teams, but they did not win their conference championship. What the committee did was they picked the 5 conference champions, and they said which one are the best 4. And Florida State got left out, and I totally agree with what the committee did. They gave us 2 amazing first round games, semifinal games, and I think we're going to have a great national championship. It's going to be Washington Huskies undefeated versus Michigan undefeated. The Joe Moore Award went to Washington's offensive line, and then obviously I think Michigan has the best defensive line in the country. So it's going to be a smash mouth, hard hitting football game, and it's going to be won in the trenches.
Couldn't agree more. And by the way, here's the receipt right here from June 27th. Ballard take 2. Michigan reaches the national championship. Let's go. I don't give a hoot or a holler about the sign stealing. You can take that to the bank and, well, do whatever you want with it. Well, shove it. Okay, shove it. How about that? I don't care.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, and
I
I
got
also
that one
thought
right.
that.
Listen, did I also tell you that I predicted that score for the SEC title? Did you
Oh
see
yeah,
that?
I seen that. I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that.
That's
I'm
2
gonna
things I got this year.
I'm gonna tell you my playoff predictions before the season. I had Clemson, Georgia, Penn State, and Washington. And then I had Michigan at number 5, LSU at 6. Um, I was way off. The only team I got
Yeah.
right was Washington. So I want Washington to win. That's the only team I got right. I thought Georgia would take care of business. I thought Georgia would probably lose on the road at Auburn and then take care of business in the SEC title game because I thought we were going to face LSU. I also thought Clemson was going to run the table because I thought that they were going to be a much better team than the couple years before. They were disappointing. Penn State, I thought with Drew Aller and they had like 80-something% production coming back from their team. I thought maybe they can finally get over hump. This is the year that they get over the hump, but obviously they failed versus both Michigan and Ohio State. I thought they would at least beat one of them because Ohio State to me was kind of I know it's not a down year to only lose one game, but I mean, they didn't look like they did with CJ Stroud and company.
Right.
So I thought maybe Penn State could, in fact, make their way to the playoffs this year. Unfortunately for them, it didn't happen. And unfortunately for my dogs, we didn't make the playoffs either. But only 4 teams get to make the playoffs every single year until this upcoming
Next
season.
year.
The 12-team playoff. How do you feel about the 12-team playoff?
I think it should have gone to 8, but just to hop off the whole am I for or against it for a second, just accept reality, it's going to happen. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good for college football, and I think teams are starting to get better. I think recruiting's getting better all across the board. I think leagues are becoming more competitive. I think the SEC stepping up, the Big Ten stepping up. I mean, you're seeing the Pac-12 step up this year. You got quarterbacks that are going to leave, but I think that recruiting on that side of the country is really good too. So I think when you get the 12 teams in, I don't expect upsets all the way across, but I think you have upsets in that first round that makes the second round really, really good.
Right. Let's go back to this season. People are going to say that the SEC had a down year because, well, They didn't have anybody in the national championship. They have all these stats against the SEC this year. I want to get your thoughts. Do you think that the SEC was down this year?
Yeah, in a way, and it kind of threw me for a loop because we mentioned LSU earlier. You kind of think about Tennessee. Well, I'm gonna say this. I think there were three good teams. I think there was Alabama who won the SEC and made the playoffs. There was Georgia, and then I'm gonna go Missouri. Outside of that, the rest of it was kind of down this year. What do you think?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah. So there's four, but that leaves you 10 teams that were kind of in the gutter in ways.
Well,
Some teams made bowl games like Auburn or whoever, but I mean,
I wouldn't say the gutter, because I feel like LSU did have a disappointing season, but they still had a great season, winning 10 games with the bowl win over Wisconsin. Um, I think Tennessee kind of took a step backwards, but I think that was everybody's expectation except for Tennessee fans. That was the expectation for Tennessee to kind of have a slight step backwards, and they won 8 games or 9 games. I think they won 8 or 9 games. So with that being, I think they went 8-4 with a bowl win. That's 9 games they won. So I mean, almost half of the SEC won 9 games or more. That's pretty impressive to me. I believe, you know, I mean, Texas A&M, I mean, they had a better year than they did the year before. I mean, they had a disappointing season, but I guess you can say it's a win because Jimbo Fisher's fired. So it's a win-win situation for Texas A&M. So, but yeah, they had a down year. Kentucky, I thought was going to do a little bit better. They had a down year. Yeah, I mean, pretty much a little bit. Almost half of the SEC teams had 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 games that they won. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the SEC is down this year. I mean, we kind of beat each other
no.
up.
I think teams took steps back, but like you said, I considering it's a competitive league where you're gonna have upsets, you're gonna have um, all these different games that go on the field, and players wanting to give it everything they got, upsets, rivalries. It was normal, but at the same time, when you look at it from a competitive standpoint with Georgia and Alabama, and then that's it. I mean, even Tennessee had taken steps back, and I think they disappointed this year in a big way. Like I thought for sure they would finish behind Georgia again, but it ended up being Missouri, which I think I look at teams like that that hit 10 wins this year, and like, did they hit 10 because they beat Ohio State in they
11.
won the combo. 11 wins.
Yeah, 11.
So, but still, I
Yeah,
mean,
I wanted
that's
to
good. Yeah.
I wanted to show well, not show it, but I want to read you a comment that one of my commenters post. All right, so I did a Missouri prediction video, and I'm gonna read it to you. The comment said, "LOL, I'm gonna come back to this video after the season. They were saying the same bull jive in 2013 when we were loaded on defense and offense. I haven't felt a Missouri team to be this good until the offseason. In 2013, there were clown reporters and YouTube channels saying that we couldn't even finish in front of Kentucky, who were just jokes at the time and finished last almost. So when we win 9 or 10, maybe even 11 games this year, don't delete the video." And guess what, sir? I didn't delete the video.
Yeah.
So hey, I was
I
wrong.
tell you, yeah. Go ahead and
I
finish real quick.
said Missouri was a 6-win team, possibly 7, and I said if they get lucky and beat maybe a Kentucky team or something, they can get to 8. But I said the floor, the bottom of the barrel was 5 wins, and the ceiling was 8 wins. So I pegged them at like 6 or 7 wins.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, can we switch
Oh,
to the ACC
I know
real
what
quick?
I know what was going on there.
What's that?
Alabama choking. Oh, I'm sorry.
So I was off by like 2 games on this team. I'm going back through something real quick. I'm going back through my team previews in the off season. If you want to look at some of those and see where, like, I know we're trying to talk about our predictions on the show, but I'm actually curious about teams that I previewed with like my personal channel and everything. But Miami went 7-6. Guess what I predicted them to go?
What's that?
8-4.
That's pretty close. Only
It
a couple
is.
games. Well, 1 game off as far as winning goes. But they also lost their bowl game. You didn't predict the bowl game. They went 7-5 in the regular season.
Yeah.
So you was 1 game off. I'm gonna find the preseason records for. I'm trying to find mine preseason records. I don't think I
Yeah.
have them.
I also
But
shout out to
go
Sea
ahead.
Dog on this one here. Yeah, shout out to our friend Sea Dog. They went 7-6. He predicted 8-4. No, he said this is what he said: 6-6 to 8-4, somewhere in there for Georgia Tech. He did that on my channel during the conference week we did this year. So there's a prediction.
Sorry, Nate. Sorry, Nate. I'm sorry, Nate.
What are you apologizing
But
to him for?
huh?
What do you have to apologize to Nate for?
Yeah, I told him Michigan sucks.
Oh,
But
they
anyways,
just beat
go
the
to
best
the.
team. So
Can you go to the SEC standings?
yes, I actually got those pulled up. Let me just scroll down here.
All right, because I want to
All
see
right,
how bad I did on
let
these
me screen
predictions.
share for you. I'm gonna screen share for you so you can see what you're looking at and all.
All right, you need to zoom in quite a bit. All right, I had Georgia going 11-1. I was wrong, right?
They went
I
13-1.
had I had Tennessee going 10-2.
Yeah,
I was wrong. I had South Carolina going 8-4. I was wrong. I had Kentucky going 7-5. I was wrong. Or was I wrong? I don't know. Was I wrong? No, I was right. 7-5. They lost their bowl game. So I was right. I got 1 team right. Missouri, I was totally wrong. I had them going 5-7. Florida, I got them right, didn't I? 5-7. And I had Vanderbilt going 3-9. What did Vanderbilt go this year? 2 and
2-10.
went
You
to
were off by 1
2.
game.
All right, I had Mississippi State going 5-7.
They did.
All right, I had Arkansas going 5-7.
4-8.
I had Auburn going 8-4.
7-6. No,
So
6-7. I'm sorry.
6-7. So
Yeah.
they went 6-6. I had Ole Miss going 8-4. They went 10-2 or 11-2. A&M, I had them going 10-2. They disappointed. I had Alabama going
And they fired
11-1.
it, and they fired their coach.
Yeah. I had Alabama going 11-1. And then I had LSU winning the West at 11-1. So I missed about all of them.
I'm gonna tell you, I think my biggest mistake of the offseason was this. Go back almost a year ago. I so for a couple of teams, I had special guests that I previewed with. My uncle came on the channel and we talked up Clemson. I came on the record and I got it pulled up if you want to see it. I picked Clemson 11-1. And I think I said their loss would be Florida State or something. I don't remember what I said their loss would be, but I had them 11-1. But here's what I was doing though, Mayhem. If you notice and you go back and watch those videos, I gave the at most prediction. I said this is their ceiling. And I would kind of talk up a floor or something. I'm like, yeah, 9-3. I think I had their floor at 9-3. But when I scroll up here in the standings, I look at Clemson, they're sitting there 9-4. So I was a little bit off on them for their
Yeah,
what they could do minimum wise.
I know this is a way too early type of thing, but Clemson, Dabo after what's that guy from Spartanburg, Tyler from Spartanburg?
Tyler. Yeah.
After he just chewed Dabo Sweeney out, Dabo Sweeney's now undefeated ever since then.
Yeah.
They need to give
You
Tyler
have a
from
feeling it's gonna
Spartanburg.
continue?
I do. I think obviously we don't know who's going to get in the transfer portal. We don't know who's going to leave and we don't know all that stuff. We don't know that stuff. But what I do know is Dabo Sweeney is a 2-time national champion. He's won the ACC 100 times. His track record is solid. Yes, he's had a couple of down years, but that's going to happen in college football. I think he's dabbled his way into the transfer portal this year. So I think he's finally coming around and, yes, Harry Leg, Georgia will beat Clemson. But as far as the ACC goes, ACC sucks. It's going to be either Clemson, Florida State, and maybe I don't know. Sneaky good team might be Miami. I don't know. We got to do. It's way too early. Way too early, right? But but Miami did finish top 3 in recruiting. That's got to mean something. And they always do pretty good in the transfer portal. We'll see what Miami does. But yes, the Dogs
I
will
might
beat
look
Clemson.
out. Oh, go ahead and finish real quick.
The Dogs will finish. The Dogs will beat Clemson in the first game. That's a fact.
I agree. I would say this though, watch out for this ACC team if I give you a little nugget here. Boston College could be on the rise next year. 23
Yeah,
to
that's
14, they
definitely.
beat SMU, win a bowl game. Win a bowl game this year. I mean, they don't really have much to lose, do they? As far as like players and transfers and
Yeah, I mean it's still a long ways to go. There's people going to be hitting the transfer portal after spring as well, and there's going to be people coming in after spring as well. So yeah, just like Twisted says, the transfer portal ends tomorrow, so you'll know everyone who is in until after the spring games, and then transfer portal will open back up, and then more people will hit the transfer portal, and more people will come to your team and so forth like that. But yeah, I was about to say something. I just forgot what I was going to say.
They'll come back. Always comes back.
So let's talk about the this is what I wanted to say. Let's talk about the reactions to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Let's start out with your team. What was your obviously you reacted to the shows to the game on your show, sorry. Um Tell me, what was going through your mind?
Nervous, but also confident, but not too confident because oh, hold on, let me mute this. I was in shock in ways like that it went to overtime. I didn't expect that. I expected a good close game. I thought there'd be a little bit more offense, honestly, because I had predicted an Alabama win 31-30. It ended up being 27-20. I I, I don't know. I expected big plays from Alabama's offense. I did not expect them to fumble the ball, have miscommunication. It just seemed like they were out of sorts. Michigan seemed like they were on point the whole way through. That also surprised me because I can't trust a coach like Jim Harbaugh in a playoff game until he wins a playoff game. And since he wins a playoff game this year, I trust him now. So there you go.
Well, you must have trusted him in the offseason. You said they're going to make it to the national title. That you
Yeah,
jinxed your
that's
team,
true.
buddy.
I
You
mean,
jinxed your team.
yeah, I did trust him in the
I mean,
offseason, and then I don't know. I knew they had the pieces, and I knew they had the experience and everything coming back, and I felt like
and
this
you
was a
knew
team on the mission, but at the same time, like, I was hesitant to make those predictions.
now.
But I did it.
Now, here's the thing. Did Ballard have anything to do with the Connor Stallions thing since you were so confident in the offseason?
I didn't send that guy over there. I mean, he just wandered in from the street, man, like, in from the cornfields or something, I don't know.
I'll
He
tell
just
you
kinda
my
popped
take.
up out of nowhere.
I'll tell you my take on the Alabama Michigan game. I think, going into this game, I was like, okay, Alabama's going to beat down Michigan because I knew that Michigan's defense was good, but I didn't think that Michigan's offense can handle with Alabama's defense. And I thought turnovers would be a factor in this game. You know, I thought that JJ McCarthy would throw at least 2 picks, fumble the ball, stuff like that. And I thought there was going to be a defensive touchdown. I thought there was going to be, I thought that everything was going to click for the Alabama offense and everything was going to go right for Alabama. I thought it might be close going into halftime, which it was. And I thought maybe Alabama would just start pulling away, which defensively, the adjustments made by Alabama defensively was phenomenal. I think in the second half they had uh, lesser yards than they did in the first half, way less yards than they did in the first half. So defensively, y'all definitely stepped up, but offensively did not get the job done. I think a big momentum shift was the strip fumble. Also, another big momentum thing was your snapper, your center is awful.
Yeah. And I think
The
he's a
center.
senior too. He's experienced, but he's not good.
I mean, what SEC team don't have a good center? I mean, you're Alabama. You're supposed. I mean, that should be one of the first things you get is a good center. That is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you even had a decent center, maybe y'all don't get sacked so many times. I don't know. Um, maybe y'all do make that fourth down play. I mean, a lot of things because that was a very low snap, and the snap before that was a very high snap, and then the snap before that he had to do like this to catch the ball. Jalen Milrow had to do like this to catch the ball, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, um, if you have a decent center, maybe some plays go Alabama's way.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And Seth McLaughlin, the center that we do have, he he's a senior. He's from Buford, Georgia. I mean, obviously that seems like a place to go get some talent. So like I don't know, but I just it people want to blame the quarterback. They want to blame the receivers and everything. Blame the O line. Blame the guy that starts out with the football. I'm not trying to throw the guy under the bus. I don't want to do that. But I'll say it he's he's the guy that he's not necessarily in command, but it's his job to move first. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's kind of like this domino effect, chain reaction. Once that ball is out of the center's hands and in the hands of the quarterback, then you start to move. And by the way, the guy can't block.
I mean,
I'm serious. Did you watch him?
yeah, I mean, he was awful. I mean, I was thinking, man, if Jalen Milrow can get one good snap, maybe they get in the end zone. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, if they can get just one good snap, maybe they can get in the end zone right here. That's what was going through my mind in overtime there. Even whenever it was in regular time, I was thinking that maybe y'all would kick a game-winning field goal. Then y'all had to punt it back to see. Then I was having Auburn flashbacks. Whenever the y'all punted the ball and almost caused a safety there, right? To win the game, I was like, man, a miracle in the Rose Bowl, right? A miracle in California, right? Um, but I'm happy for Michigan. I'm glad they won. You know, I tip my cap to y'all. Y'all gonna have to meet up with the Huskies on January 8th. So good luck with that. Let's talk about that game. The Huskies versus Texas. What's your thoughts?
Another great game. Not as many points as I thought. I honestly I was off by let's see, I did take Washington, but I took them 48-45. They win 37-31. So I was off by about 8 points for Washington, and I was off by 4 points for Texas. So, but
Yeah.
that was a good game. It came down to the Washington defense there at the end. Texas cannot find the end zone. Quinn Ewers, as you would say it kind of weirdly, but uh, I don't know. I'm just making fun of you now, man. I love you, buddy. Anyway, Texas did everything right, but Washington did a little bit more, especially there at the end of the game.
Oh
I
yeah.
just I don't know where to begin.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. Washington, there was no, well, I mean, you could say that very final drive, I was, kind of worried that Texas was going to win. But until that final drive, I thought that Washington had that game in control the whole entire game, except for the last, what, 6 or 7 minutes in that game. And, speaking of flashbacks, I had a flashback of Georgia whenever they were in the national championship versus Alabama. And I thought for sure Georgia was going to win the game. They were up by 14 points at halftime. And then Tua Tagovailoa, came back for the Alabama Crimson Tide and won one of the most nightmare games for the Georgia Bulldog fans, and the Georgia Bulldogs. But yeah, I think for the most part, Washington was in control. I think they kind of slacked up there at the end, thinking that they probably. And another thing is they were still throwing the ball. They must have didn't trust the run game, which is concerning because they have, according to the Joe Moore Award, they have the best offensive line. So
Yeah.
not sure why they
Well,
didn't trust
I
their running
mean,
game.
well, they gave the ball to Dylan Johnson 21 times. He got 49 yards. That's not even half a football field. But Penix attempted 38 passes. He completed 29 of them, 400 plus yards throwing on offense. So, and it from the beginning, it seemed like the air raid was working for Washington. And I felt like that was something that I didn't know what they were going to do, but you could tell looking at it now that they trusted that in their quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with what Harry Legg said. Texas waited too late to go fast. Two good offenses are hard to stop whenever the QB is dialed in. I totally agree with
Yeah.
that, and I thought we were gonna there at that last play reminded me. I know I keep on going back to games, but kind of reminded me of whenever AD Mitchell made a catch for Georgia like that in one of our playoff games, whether it be I can't remember if it was the semifinal or the national championship, but yeah, whenever AD Mitchell made that type of catch, and I thought maybe for a half second there, I was like, Texas won the game, but Washington Washington held on. Um, but
Yeah.
that defensive back, I mean that that was a great play by him to secure the win for the Huskies. Huskies are dogs, so go dogs in the national championship. I man, I can't wait for the national championship. Yeah, my dogs are in it. They already won their bowl game 63-3. I'm happy. Obviously, I would love to have seen my Georgia Bulldogs in the playoffs, but we didn't take care of business whenever we really, really needed to. And I was scared about that going into that game, and I had that weird feeling that it wasn't gonna go our way that day. But because I mean Georgia just had too many wins in a row. I mean, I just felt like okay, today might be the day. And I was
Yeah.
unfortunately right. Let's kind of preview the national championship. You don't have to give a prediction if you don't want to, because I know you're going to make a video on your channel. Previewing and predicting the game. But I want to preview it on this channel. And I'll give my prediction because I might even give a score prediction here. But tell me your initial thoughts on the national championship game.
I want to know where the defense is because I see two prolific offenses going head to head between Michael Penix and JJ McCarthy. And then you got, of course, Dylan Johnson in the run game and Blake Corum. Rome Odunze and Roman Wilson. And I mean, I could go down the list of matchups, man. I see too many weapons on offense on both sides. I see two great offensive lines that'll block the defenses. So I think it could be a championship game for the ages. And I think be really close, possibly in overtime, like the Rose Bowl was or something, but maybe just some more points on the board. Would you agree?
I do think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be very similar to what we saw versus Washington and Texas, come down to the wire. Like you said, maybe even overtime. But I don't think this is going to be an overtime game. I think somebody's going to win it in regular time. Um, I think it's going to come down to the wire, though. Whoever has the ball last pretty much wins the game, or whoever has the elite defensive stop there at the end of the game to win the game. So I think as far as whenever I look at offense, I think the Washington Huskies definitely has the better quarterback, better offensive line, better receivers. I think all the way around, I think offensively, Washington has it. They say defense wins championships. Michigan has the better defense. Now, here's my question. Who's going to win in the trenches? Is it going to be Washington's O line or Michigan's D line? That's going to be the deciding factor in this game. And I think Washington has what it takes to beat Michigan. And um, I'm never going to count out Michael Penix. He is him. He's him. I'm going to pick Washington for the win. I've been very high on Washington all year, and that Adunze, I think he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. That's just my opinion. Adunze is better than Marvin Harrison, and if Adunze was wearing an Ohio State helmet, people would be agreeing with me. So I think I think Washington wins this game and wins their first national championship in a very long time. And I think most of college football, except for Florida State fans, I think most people are going to be happy for them and excited. And um, yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. Washington, this is not just a one-off for Washington. I think they will be back into the playoffs. They may not win another national championship for a long time, but they're not leaving the playoff discussion. They'll be in there year in and year out. They're going to give Ohio State and Michigan a run for their money in the Big Ten.
For sure, man. And let me ask you this question. I did a small show earlier today, and I talked with our friend Nate, who's the Michigan fan. When you look at these two teams going head to head, you mentioned they're probably not going anywhere. I think it's Michigan's to lose, but would you say it's maybe Washington's to lose? Are you on that train? Who needs this championship victory more next Monday night? And I would ask why that is, because I would say Michigan, because of the number of times they've been in the playoffs and now they're finally on that big stage. And I look at the teams that are coming into the Big Ten next year and everything in competition, whereas Washington also, on the other hand, set to join the Big Ten soon. It's going to get tougher. I guess, I mean, it's possible that they both need it just as much as the next team, right? What would you say?
Washington definitely needs this championship more than Michigan. And I say that because just like I said, I think Washington is here to stay in the playoff conversation. But with that being said, I also think that Washington's not going to probably be in the national championship game for a long time. Michigan can easily get there maybe in a couple years, right? I don't see Washington getting to a national championship game in a couple years. I can see Michigan getting there. So they'll have their chance at another national title run. But as far as Washington goes, when's the next time we will see Washington in a national championship? Most people didn't think that Washington could even make this national championship game. So, with that being said, I think Washington needs it more.
For sure, man. Like I said, I'm going with Michigan here, but I think we both make a good case for either team. I think you just got to look at it and say they both need it, and I cannot wait till next Monday night to go live, and we will be live on Ballard Sports Media. Uh, Mayhem, are you set? Are you in on live streaming that with me?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give you my prediction for this game.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say um hmm, 34 27.
34-27, and you're going with the Huskies.
Huskies 34-27.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, we'll do the preview video. I want to get it out Friday or Saturday, so I'll probably record. I got to work tomorrow, so it might not be recorded till like Thursday for me, but definitely get it out this weekend before the game on Monday. And like I said, I still can't figure out what the score's gonna be or anything. So, but I just know there's gonna be a lot of firepower on both offenses. But at the same time, here's the thing: you trust the offenses for both teams, but maybe you're onto something because I would trust in a game like that. You need to know what defense to trust that they could stop the offense, right? So, I would say maybe you're right on Washington because I trust their defense and secondary more with what Kalen DeBoer has more so than what Michigan has.
Well, the reason why I'm picking Washington, I think Michigan has the better defense, but that offense, I'm not sure if Michigan can stop that type of offense. That offense is going to score points. Um, I'm not sure if Michigan can get the job done as far as stopping that elite offense. Now I do have faith that Washington's defense can stop JJ McCarthy. It's going to come down to quarterback play too, defense and quarterback play. And as far as I'm concerned, I think the Huskies defense can make a more of an impact on this game versus Michigan's offense. Michigan is not going to be able to stop Washington's offense. So with that being said, I got to go with the Huskies here. Like I said, I only have them winning by a touchdown, 34-27. Is going to come down to the wire. Whoever hits 30 points first is probably going to win the game. I think that Washington can go blow for blow with Michigan. If Michigan scores a touchdown, I think Washington responds with another touchdown. I think if Michigan makes another touchdown, here comes Washington with another touchdown. So I think their ability to respond to being down in a game or, just I think they can go blow for blow. Their offense is that good. Am I crazy to say that this is the Pac-12 / Big Ten's version of 2019 LSU?
No, you're not crazy to say that at all. I mean, think about it. Who in the preseason would have? I mean, you had people like me picking Michigan, but I think you were the only guy out there that I heard say something about Washington. I think they were sneaking up, but they're kind of under the radar a little bit. You know, not everyone's going to talk about them because you got USC, which by the way really screwed up this season. Oregon. Who else did you have? You had a few
Utah,
different Pac-12 teams. So
Utah, UCLA.
Utah, UCLA. Yeah. So, like,
I mean,
you have those teams kinda shadowing over Washington a little bit. So, for you to be right on this prediction, man, I give you all the props. Nobody else woulda said it. Nobody else woulda come up with it. But Mayhem Matthew, everybody, Purple Rain.
right, Purple Rain and go dogs. See, I could still say go dogs in this national championship. That's what makes me, you know, I think that's kind of what makes me happy in this game because I am a college football fan. Okay, I am a Georgia Bulldogs fan, but I'm also a college football fan. I'm definitely going to be watching this national championship. You know, but I'm gonna be yelling "Go Dogs!" Yes, it's not the Georgia Bulldogs. Our dogs are much tougher and bigger and better, but I mean they're dogs. They're in the national championship, so go Dogs. But with that being said, we're streaming on both channels, Ballard Sports Media and the Mayhem Matthew channel. Subscribe to both of us. That'll be much appreciated. It is completely free of charge. So, all you gotta do is hit that like button, comment something, and subscribe to the channel. It takes like 30 seconds to do all that stuff. So, and it helps us and it helps YouTube, and it's completely free. So, with that being said, my last words: go Dogs, and good night.
Great playoff games. Can't wait for Monday for the national title. We'll be live on Ballard Sports Media. Roll Tide. Love you guys.